Hello, guests of the manor. This is, of course, the Lady of the Manor, and I am very excited to be celebrating with you the release of my latest novel, Into the Wizarding World and the Muggle World alike, written under my Muggle pen name. It is the next installment in the Magic Most Foul series, the first being Darker Still, continuing now with The Twisted Tragedy of Miss Natalie Stewart. Notice she's in a corset on the cover. I do love corsets. And yes, it is the Magic Most Foul series, and so I'm very excited to share an excerpt with you, my fellow witches and wizards, because you, of all people, will understand the magical aspects of my novels far better than my Muggle audience ever can hope to. And so I'll share a selection after our heroine, Miss Natalie Stewart, has just suffered an attack. She has been rendered unconscious, and our hero, Jonathan Whitby, Lord Denbury, is rousing her. Now, the book takes place in 1880 in New York City, so you'll notice a bit more heightened language. You will also notice that as I will be speaking in Miss Stewart's narrative voice, I will be donning an American accent. Of course, Lord Denbury is British because heroes are British, of course. So, without any further ado, a deep breath of something sharp and pungent roused me with a coughing choke. My eyes opened to see Jonathan before me, only this time he held a fancy bottle of lady's smelling salts beneath my nose. I was in a boudoir I recognized, upstairs in my mentor's home. "Thank you," I murmured, took stock of my body. My arms hurt, and glanced down at my blue blouse. No obvious damage, but my skin tingled strangely, my arms burning as if wounded under the surface. What was that about? "I don't know," Jonathan replied. "Everything was finally quiet at the hospital, resolved really, but then you heard chanting and blacked out. Maybe everything we've been through built up like a toxin in your body, all the magic and ritual. Since you've been subjected to so much already, perhaps your body and your consciousness was at a breaking point." Maybe I wasn't fully rid of it, Jonathan, before throwing myself back in the center. That must be why a dream could wound me, why magic could reach up like a surging tide to drag me under. Jonathan kissed my forehead. "I'll never let it take you." I nuzzled against him, kissing his cheek softly with a thankful prayer. He reminded me of what was good and true in the world against such dark, draining magic. Surely not all magic was dark. Love was magic. "Do you remember anything, Natalie? You were murmuring, chanting, but I couldn't make any of it out." I tried to tell him about what I'd seen, my dreams. I couldn't make any sense of it. "As you fainted, I saw red and gold fire surround you, signs of the dark magic." I clutched at Jonathan's lapels. Could the demon still be active? How do you really kill a thing like that? And why am I in such pain if I am not bleeding? I asked, itching at my forearm. I spoke too soon. My fingernail came away bloody, a dark splotch pooling upon the light blue linen. "Oh, God. Jonathan, what's—" "I can hazard a guess," he said grimly. I knew it, too. He tore my sleeves open. Runes, carved on my arms, so many of them, carved lightly on the surface, but bloodier than before. It had happened to Jonathan during his curse. Now it was happening to me, and this wasn't just a few characters. This was the whole message. It began with the same few runes, but now took up both of my forearms. He dashed into the hall. "Make it stop," I cried, reaching out for him. From the bathroom I heard a rummaging of glass. "Make it stop. Just stop. It's all we wanted, all of us drawn into this mad quest. Just stop. It was enough to drive someone mad 10 times over." Evil was inflicted upon me, manifest by forces I couldn't see, forces that wanted to drag me to the depths rather than let me live in the light. I couldn't even bat the tears from my eyes, too scared to bring the bloody markings closer to me. Jonathan was upon me again in the instant, mixing an ointment with a clear fluid on a ball of cotton. "This will sting," he said calmly, taking my arms and laving them with the swab. The pain of his tincture wasn't any worse than the pain of the wounds, and I was so grateful for his touch, to have him taking care of me, that I didn't mind. He kissed my palms. "Come now, Natalie. What did we say to your nightmares? What do we say to devils?" "I renounce thee," I said. He said it with me. The markings immediately began to recede. Jonathan turned over the swab that should have been bloody, but it wasn't. Quick, Jonathan, write down the markings before they're gone. Jonathan snatched up a paper and wrote out the sequence of the runic letters on one arm, then the other. I renounce thee, I said again to the magic. My breath fell over the letters. With a shimmer of red light, the demon's calling card, the markings, faded entirely, as if I dreamed them up. I peered closer at my now smooth forearm. I glanced up at Jonathan sheepishly. Tell me you saw them. He held up the paper of markings to prove it. As I went downstairs to search out the translation, I moved into the library. The volume of runes was lying out for me, as if my mentor knew I would need it. I stared at the book and the correlating alphabet, then back at the note card with the message. Dread slithered in my stomach like a snake uncoiling to stalk prey. Roughly, the phantom carvings on my arm translated to, I am coming for you. And that will be all for now. If this has intrigued you, I do hope that you will go out wherever Muggle books are sold and procure a copy. If this doesn't interest you, well then tell your enemies and tell them to pick it up. And as always, darlings, have a lovely time at the manor.